Welcome to ProVenue and your new hospitality learning experience. ProVenue is a training management tool that has been developed for use in hotels, wedding and event venues, pubs and restaurants. Now, one of the big benefits of ProVenue are the tools within the system, and one of those tools is our learning manager. And that's what we're looking at in this video. So we're now going to look at what's called the content admin role, which allows the user to create courses, add content and develop learning pathways for your organisation. So here at ProVenue, we offer a range of generic courses that are split into 3 suites: the compliance suite, the hospitality suite and the service suite. And these courses will all be preloaded into ProVenue for you based on the package agreed by your company with us. Our courses can be fully branded and customised to reflect the way your particular venue works, or they can be the standard courses that have all been accredited by the industry. So your staff will all be able to self-enrol on these courses, and we can help you to decide which courses are mandatory for each department, which courses should be available for self-enrolment, and which courses should be by request only. We will help you to set all this up as part of your initial training and onboarding with ProVenue. But once they are set up, you'll be able to manage them yourself, just as you see fit, because each course has these set of icons that allow you to manage it. And the first icon here, this green box, allows you to enrol learners directly onto a course. So if you've identified some team members that you feel would benefit from a particular course, you can go in and enrol them on that course. The next icon is the information icon, and this will give you the basic details of the course, as you can see, in a pop-up box without you having to go into the course itself. The document with the pencil icon here allows you to edit the course content. We're going to go back to this bit in a bit more detail, but just so you can see what it does. And the course properties with this icon with a light bulb in it allows you to edit the actual content itself. This red minus button allows you to deactivate the course, meaning it will still be there, but nobody will be able to enrol on it until it is reactivated. So if I press this, here we go, it now has this button. So to reactivate, I simply click on that and it will reactivate it again. This cross icon in the red box allows us to completely delete the course from the system. And finally, this paper icon allows you to duplicate the course if you want to. However, where ProVenue really comes into its own is the ability it has for you to create your own bespoke courses. And you can do this using some existing content that you may have, or you can create brand new content. But it all starts off with creating course categories. So you manage your courses by putting them all into categories. So let's go into manage categories. And as you can see here at ProVenue, we've already created some of our own categories. We've got staff induction, compliance, hospitality and service, as well as workshop and management courses. So you might want to add another category of your own, and it's quite simple. You simply click on add category. You give your category a name. You can give your category a description, that is optional. And then next you need to decide if you want the category to be visible in the catalogue that everyone sees, or is it an internal category that is only there for reference. Next you need to decide whether or not this is a category in its own right, or whether it's a subcategory of one of these. And then finally you need to decide if you're going to have it available to all groups within your system or selected groups only. Now, if you do selected groups only, it'll bring up every single group that you've got. And as you can see with the Spa Hotel here, they have a division in York, one in Watford, one in Swindon, one in Sheffield, and so on. So you can either make this available to everybody or to selected groups only. When you're done, click finish. That's simple. Let's click, actually we didn't enter anything, did we? So that's now given us a blank category. So I will just get rid of that. Okay, so let's now go back to our catalogue. Now you also have the option of uploading a course from here. And if you do it from here, it needs to be what they call SCORM compliant, which is essentially the format that e-learning courses are designed in, which allows you to basically track the learner's progress. But you don't need to worry about that if it's not something that your company uses. Alternatively, you can create a course using all sorts of different formats that include video, PDF, audio, documents, PowerPoints, and much more. So let's have a look at it. All you need to do is add course or class and then fill in the details. So you need to give your course a name. You can give it a subtitle if you would like to. You can say how long it's going to take the learner to do. And this description area here is probably quite important because if you remember the information icon that we've looked at previously with the pop-up box, this area is what populates that. So probably good to give a good description in here. Optionally, you can also add an icon of your own to denote each course. You can choose the category of the course here. You can decide whether or not there's going to be a certificate. Now, currently, we don't have any certificates designed, so it would use the default certificate that comes with the system. But if you have designed a certificate, and we will look at that in a moment in this video, the different certificates that you've designed will appear here. You can decide if you want the certificate to be emailed automatically to the learner upon completion. You can decide whether or not you want the lessons to be taken in order, and you can decide how many and what notifications you want the system to send during the course of the enrolment. Now up here, we have some different options as well. And where you see this question mark, there will always be a pop-up box that tells you what this area is for and why. This allows you to make the course active or inactive. Here you can give your enrolment an expiry date. If it's a certification course that you feel should be retaken at different times, you can give the certificate an expiry date, and you can allow for review within the system as well. Once you've filled all this information in and you're happy with it, you can click step 2, and then that will allow you to start adding some content. So as I've not added a new course, I know that there's nothing in our data protection course yet. So I'm going to go to course content this way. And when you go to course content, this is the area that you will see. Now, obviously, to start off with, it will be blank because we've not added any course content, but this is where things get interesting. You can now create your own course. And one of the best things about our training manager is the fact that you can upload a PowerPoint presentation and turn it into an e-learning course simply by uploading it in this content area here. I'm sure there'll be many of you that have written some great content that is in PowerPoint form presentation that you'd like to make a little bit more animated and add into a training system like this. Well, now you can. If you don't want to create new content, simply click Browse, find the PowerPoint presentation and press Upload Files. It will whiz and whir. The system will do its thing and then it will appear here. And you can click Finish and the course will be available for people to enroll on. So that's one option. The next option is you can create a course using all these different things down here, and that's what we're going to have a look at now. So the first option here is add a section header, and this is simply a tool to allow you to break up content into sections, and it works really well with longer and larger courses. The next option is to add a document. And again, very simple area, but this allows you to upload PDF, Word, Excel, images, really any type of document that you want to use as part of your course materials. And this often works very well where handouts or transcripts are required. The next is to add a live class. And this is a good option for those who are offering blended learning courses where you have online learning and face-to-face as part of the same course. The next option is to add an assignment, and this is a great tool if you're looking to add an assessment to your course that requires proper grading rather than just a quiz with multiple choice questions that are self-marking. It allows you to obviously give your assignment a name, put in the assignment instructions, and this works in exactly the same as any WYSIWYG editor. You can choose an instructor and you can give it a rubric, which we're going to look at in a little bit more detail in a moment. And you can give it a score, you can give it a weighting, and you can delay the launch. And again, if you're not quite sure what any of those means, just hover on the question mark and it will tell you what to do. So as I say, it's a very good option, and you can also add resources to this area as well. So next up is add a quiz. So if you don't want to go as detailed as an assignment and you simply want to add a quiz, then this is a great option. I'm just going to put in test quiz here for a moment because I want to show you how it works to add a question. See how simple this is. It's a great little tool that offers 4 different question types. You've got multiple choice, multiple answer, true or false, or text entry. And you can add up to 4 answers for each question. You can decide how many attempts that somebody has to get it correct. You can also customize the feedback that you give when somebody gets it right or they get it wrong. And you have the option to randomize the answers if you want to as well. But essentially, it really is a great little tool. So that's our quiz section. That's probably added the quiz now, yeah. So it's added our quiz, and this is what happens once you use one of these areas. It will then add it to the course. So next up is the ability to add a web page, and this is a great option if you just want to refer learners to a particular article or blog post or website as part of the course. Next up is add video. I particularly like this because I think everybody learns in a different way, and it's great to give people lots of different learning formats. So when you're creating a course, adding in things like video, audio, PDF handouts, quizzes, it helps to really engage your learners in the experience because it keeps them interested, it keeps them involved. Now with the video, you have 3 different options. You can use a YouTube video, a Vimeo video, or you can upload your own video content. You can decide if you want to show the controls so people can stop and start it, and you can decide the width and the height of the video, and of course give it a name and a description. The next option is the audio option, and that's similar to video, but instead of uploading a video, you're uploading an MP3 file to your course. Now, the next tool, Reuse Lessons, is one I particularly like. You can click this, and rather than uploading the same file that might have appeared in another course, you can simply add it directly from this area without having to re-upload it. When you create courses, you'll often find there's different documents that you'll use multiple times in different courses. So rather than uploading it multiple times, you can simply reuse it from here. And finally, adding an attachment is similar to adding a document, but instead of it being part of the course, it comes at the bottom of the course in its own section. And this is great for reference documents that don't actually form part of the course content, but are good for extracurricular reading. Once you've added in all of your elements of your course, you can then click Finish, and it will be ready for enrolments. So we still have 2 more tabs on the catalogue page that we haven't looked at yet. One of them is Manage Certificates, and this allows you, as I mentioned, to select a certificate image file from your computer to use on all of your company course certificates. You simply press Add Certificate, give it a name, and choose the certificate file. It tells you up here that the files need to be either JPEG, PNG, or GIF image files, and it also gives you the size of the file that will look right. So if you have a graphic designer or somebody in-house to design this for you, they just need to make sure that the size is these sizes here that have been identified. Once you've uploaded the file, again, press Submit, and this certificate will be available for you to choose if you've ticked Certificate to be issued upon successful completion. And finally, we have Manage Rubrics. Now, we mentioned the rubrics earlier when we were looking at assignments, and I did say we would come back to this. And a rubric is a simple way to set up a grading criteria for assignments. A rubric basically defines in writing what is expected of the learner to get a particular grade on an assignment. And for the person marking the assignment, they know what criteria they're marking against. So it really is quite a neat little thing to do. And you simply press Add Rubric, you give it a name and a description. You can decide whether or not it's going to be a draft one or a published one. You can also use rubrics for appraisals, which we'll look at in a separate video. you can go to step 2, and that's where you add the different elements to your rubrics. So an element essentially is your grading structure. So if you add an element, you give it a name and you say how many points it's got, and then you can add more degrees to that. So that's your rubrics. Now, e-learning is not the only type of educational experience that ProVenue offers. You can also use what's called a blended learning approach, which is a combination of e-learning and face-to-face events, such as workshops and conferences. So the next tab on the right-hand side is live classes, and this is where you can allocate physical training events to your learners, and it really is very simple to use. All you need to do is click on Create New Live Class, give it a name. For the sake of this exercise, and I've done this one before, we're going to call it Social Media Workshop. There we go. You can give it a description if it's applicable. Choose a category. Well, it's a workshop, so I'm going to choose workshop. You can decide if the attendance is going to give any CPD or credit points by adding the credits here, if it's applicable. If you want to give it a mastery score, which is the score a student needs to achieve in order to pass. And if this class forms part of a course, then you can also give the class a weight, which is the amount this class will count towards the overall course. And you can also delay when this class appears if you're doing some pre-planning. Now, once you've done that, you can go on to step 2, where you can create sessions for your live class. And it might be you'll only be running this once, but you have the opportunity to create it multiple times if required. So you can click Add New Session, and you'll be presented with this screen here. And now it's time to enter the details of your class or workshop. So again, I could give it a name of Social Media for Venue Sales Staff. It's advisable to give some description in the next box so your staff know what the class or workshop is about and how it can benefit them. You then can add the location of where it's going to appear, let's say Swindon, number of seats, 50. If this, my mouse has decided to go a little bit wonky. If your workshop or conference actually has a website, you can add the URL in this section here. You can assign an instructor. You can decide on a start date, finish date, start time and end time, how many days prior to the event you want to start registration, and you can decide if you're going to have a wait list. So as you can see, it's a very comprehensive tool, and you can decide on the different notifications that will go along with it. If there's any attachments like a program or anything like that that goes along with it, you can add that there. And once you're done, you can click Finish. So it really is very, very simple. And then down here, you can see how many live classes are currently available. You can click on them, you can have a look at them on the calendar, and you can add more things from here. So it really is quite a neat little tool that allows for that blended learning approach that a lot of people want. Next up is our templates tab, and this is probably one of the most versatile tools that we actually have within ProVenue, simply because you will use it in a number of different ways, basically due to its nature and flexibility. And in this instance, we're using it to create a survey, but it's also used to create the appraisal templates, the audits, and the inspections. So to create a survey, which can also be used in a number of ways, such as sending a survey to your staff about a company initiative, or maybe a survey about ways to improve training offered, whatever it might be, all you need to do is click Add New Template. Give your survey a name. We'll go with Staff Here we go. I can never type properly when I want to. Staff Satisfaction Survey. There we go. Obviously, you can decide whether or not you want the name of the survey to be shown. So click yes or no. You can give the header a color. You can choose a header image for your survey. You can decide whether or not you want to show your company logo on the survey. And you'll see this box here, which is a tick box there. And that denotes whether or not it's to be used for appraisals. And this is something we cover in our Performance Manager video. So it's not relevant for a survey and it should be left unticked. Each survey is required to have a front page, and a conclusion page. You don't need to put lots of information in here unless you want to. Maybe a short description here of what the survey is and a short thank you sentence for the conclusion page. You can also choose if you want to send an email on completion of the survey, and you can decide on what you want the buttons to be called that allow your staff to move through. Once you're done, simply click Create Survey Questions, and this is really where the fun begins. Every survey needs to have at least one page, and really all this does is a page acts like a section. So if you've got a survey that has several different sections in it, create a page for each section because it keeps the survey very neat and tidy and easy to understand. So let's just give this a title of test so that we can get on with it and submit. Okay, so here we go. We've got test, and now we want to add a question. And as you can see, you're now presented with a variety of options that includes 10 different question types, as well as an option to upload images and supporting documents. And as I said, this is where ProVenue really comes into its own, as it allows you to create an incredibly comprehensive survey using a huge variety of options, which really keeps the user engaged and allows for you to have fantastic flexibility. So you can choose from a single text box, which is this one, an essay text box, a text box list, and a text box table that allows you to include comments as well. In fact, all question types allow you to say whether or not it is a mandatory question, and if the question is dependent upon the response from a previous question, which makes it unbelievably flexible and in-depth. You can also use both multiple choice and, so there's your multiple choice and multiple answer. There is a rating scale. There's star rating and matrix. You can also upload a block of text, an image, and as we mentioned earlier, you can upload documents to go along with your survey. There's no limit on how many questions you create, and if it's going to be a long survey, then you have the option, as I said, of breaking it up into sections by creating a different page for each section. Once you've added all of your pages and all of your questions, you can simply press Finish Survey and the survey will now be available for you to use. But I'm going to go back into templates and look at some of the ones that have already been created for us. And here, this just allows you to go in and edit it, add more questions, you can view it, you can duplicate it, and you can delete it. So again, very easy to manage. And there's two ways, but once you've added all your questions, you need to obviously allocate your survey to your staff members. And for that, we're going to go back to the catalogue area. And there are two ways you can issue a survey. And one is as part of an existing course, and the other is as a standalone survey. So if we're going to do it as part of an existing course, you simply go into the course, click Add Survey, and choose which survey you want to add to the end of your course. So really, really simple. To add a survey to as a standalone tool, you basically need to create it as a course so that you can allocate it to your staff members. And really that just means going through the same procedure we've been through before when creating a course. Only this time there's only going to be one item to add, the survey. You'll then be able to send it out to staff accordingly for them to complete within the ProVenue system. To view completed surveys and the results of the surveys, you simply click here on the Reporter tab, click on More, and as you see, you can go here for your survey reports. And you can pull reports on everything here within ProVenue. So, going back to our content admin, there's still two areas to explore. One is resources and the other is learning path. Now the resources area is where you can upload documents for all users of your copy of ProVenue to access. And you have the ability to upload documents, images, and create external links to websites. You can also manage this area so everything is put into folders to keep it easy for reference. So you can manage your resource folders here. You can add a new folder. So really you can call it anything and give it a description. Either way is fine. We've chosen at the moment to include induction PDRs and appraisals and how-to videos, but you can have as many folders as you want, and you can upload whatever resources you wish to share with your team or your staff. When you press add a resource link, this allows you to add a URL. You can still give it a name and a description, and you can decide which folder you'd like to put it in, or alternatively, you don't have to put it in any folder, and you can decide whether or not you want it to appear as a pop-up window. If alternatively you would rather upload a file, same as any other file you upload in this system, hit browse, choose the file from your computer, and then press upload. So very, very simple. Finally, we have our learning path, and this is a way to schedule training to occur over a particular period of time. And learning paths create enrolments for the student based on the schedule of the learning path. So starting on the day, the learning path is assigned to the student. And it's a great way to really ensure that your staff stay up to date, motivated, and current. So we've now gone through our learning manager. And as you can see, it is an incredibly extensive tool. You can use our catalogue of courses. You can manipulate those courses. You can add to those courses. You can create a course using PowerPoint. You can create incredibly detailed assignments if you're doing a course at a more managerial level where you believe there needs to be some real learning outcomes. And of course, you can create your own course from scratch using a variety of things from video, audio, PDFs, handouts, URL links, surveys, whatever it is you would like to create as part of your course. And finally, of course, you can also issue a fully blended learning course within ProVenue.